of news, and why I'm gonna be honest, my blood's boiling a little bit. So if I'm very like snippy today, you'll understand. I want to tell you why. I just got done talking to Tony about Pred's case. There's been 2 updates to it. But to kind of provide some foreground, or background, I should say. The meeting on Saturday, right? I used it at the end of the meeting. I used it as an opportunity to spark up the conversation with Hart, Hollow, and Grayson about my FOIAs. Like, hey, you know, like, what's going on with that? Why is it that the judges can't see the Marshall cases, like, or the Marshall reports? Because how are they going to be able to ever oversee anything? And that's when it came to light. And maybe it was mentioned to me before, but it just didn't click, or I didn't pay attention to it. The following was stated: the justices do not see Marshall reports. Hollow and Hart both stated that the marshals do not work for them.
What?
Yes.
That's literally the opposite of what the legislation...
The Constitution says.
Yeah, the Constitution says.
So I asked them, and I'm going to be honest, it was one of those moments because I really appreciated that meeting. So I didn't want to, like, crash out, right? But I did point it out. I was like, guys, and I read the Constitution to them. I'm like, you are the DOJ. The law enforcement agency functions on your behest. And they're like, yeah, but that doesn't mean we're their boss or whatever. I'm like, yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
It
literally does. Like, and walking out of it, I was more like, and maybe part of my, like, reservation was I was so, like, stun-locked that I didn't know how to, like, bring the you know, the horse to water type shit, which is so where I ended up, like, concluding was it's possible. Keep in mind that Hart and Hollow had their signatures on some of the dog shit that Angel put together, right? So directly they were complicit, but in the meeting they sort of, like, seemed shocked when it came to some of the things we brought up. So
yeah, Hollow didn't know about the FOIA changes.
Hollow didn't?
Yeah, when you mentioned the FOIA stuff, he goes, what? I mean, maybe I didn't understand that it was sarcasm, but that's definitely what he said. I assumed it was genuine.
We're so overworked, like, little things like that don't even click. No, 11:03. Wait, what the fuck? So, with everything said, I walked away being as charitable as possible. Reality is, Hollow is getting reintroduced to everything, and I get that, right? Hart has, I don't believe the whole I'm available whenever you need me bullshit. Like, this isn't 5 years ago, you need to be around, right? Like, you can't, you have to email me bullshit. Like, I don't know what that even means. Like, it's like I get elected. Yeah, call me, you know, hit up my email if you guys need the mayor. You know, I'll see you in 3 months type shit. No, fuck that. But even then, I came from the position of the most charitable explanation is, they were both complicit. They may not have understood how bad things were. So when this stuff hit their desk, they just kind of signed it off, right? Just as many judges might when signing off a raid warrant or a command member. I just trust you, right? Like you guys, right? If I trust you guys, you want to do something, I sign off on it, right? And little did they know what was happening. I'm gonna be charitable about it, okay? So, and then I went further and said, maybe they also both got gaslit into believing that the marshals are under Angel and they have no control of it. Once again, gaslighting. I remember, and I know, Corolla, this is kind of new to you, so if there's any questions, feel free to ask. And Maeve, I know you're kind of now just experiencing it. But Michael, think about the 3 months that we kept, there was like so many attempts to like gaslight us, right? That the LSPD, you are not their boss. Like, are you dumb? Like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, that like all the bullshit that kept getting fed to us, and like to the point where you might even remember I started questioning myself a little bit, and then we had a chat with Bailey, and he's like, no, you're not crazy. That's literally how it was set up. Right? So, where does that leave me? I had posed the question to Grayson and then the justices that, do y'all understand that if you perceive that it is okay for you not to have access to marshal reports and that they do not function for you, that you are effectively acknowledging that this system is fine and not recognizing that you cannot oversee any court case a marshal may be involved in simply due to the fact that you have no way to verify whether or not exculpatory information exists or does not exist.
Hi, Junior.
And the only so their response was kind of like a, we'll have to think on this kind of response, right? Understandably, they don't understand the gravity of what's happening with Pred like we do or others do, right? They may think they do, but they're not here every day to experience what everyone is experiencing.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like the impact to them is small. And even myself, I walked away from that meeting saying, you know what, we'll resolve this in a week or two. You know, when the state officials are here, we'll talk about it. And then I spoke to Tony today. And I looked at the 2 latest docket postings in which Sparks has made the statement motion to strike witnesses. The state, by and through its counsel, moves to strike Nathaniel Grayson and Arthur McNee. Neither of these witnesses have direct involvement with the initial raid, nor have been found to be material or direct witnesses. She's literally lying on the docket.
Yep.
Wasn't one of them at the raid?
They both were. And so when I read that, and then she goes on to say that this needs to be a new, like another like a separate deposition, I fucking lost it. It's been 5 fucking weeks.
Yeah.
5 weeks. I don't give a fuck what you want to do with your life. These people have a fucking responsibility. We are not waiting another day, another 2 days. The city has been on a fucking standstill because of these overzealous, selfish motherfuckers. And then it clicked that not only is Sparks either lying through ignorance or intentionally lying, and for Corolla and oh Lord have mercy, fucking Junior, I'm sorry, Junior. Background, the marshals knew that there was weed inside the warehouse that Pred owned, and they hid that information from the courts. In other words, everything points at the fact that they targeted Pred's warehouse knowing what was likely inside, and effectively frame him. Yes.
Yeah, on the previous owner. and then Pred bought the property in the evening, basically immediately went to sleep, and then while he was asleep, they raided it.
He would not even had the opportunity to clean up what was inside. He would not have had the opportunity to put together what was inside.
Exactly. I think that would be very interesting, is to have someone, now that it's legal to grow marijuana, to have someone maybe explain how long it takes to put up a setup like that.
Oh yeah,
Which would
absolutely.
help prove his innocence.
But there's a bigger problem at play.
Of course.
I don't
that
think
he's framed.
that well, even worse than that. I came to realize that you can't have Pred's court case. How do you have Pred's court case when the judges cannot verify whether or not documents are produced? You need the FIB.
Mm-hmm.
And let me explain. We already know that that Espino's, like, you know, the interrogation he did with Sonia Summers, in which he stated like knowledge of criminal, like weed related activity around there. And I don't put this on Espino's. I actually think he's one of the good ones, transparently. I think he's acting based on what's instructed of him, right? But the fact that that was hidden away from the court case until, and only reason we even knew about this is because Sonia told me about it, right? So I knew to look, is that what else is hidden? If the marshal is stating lies on the docket, how does anyone know what else that is related is even going to get produced? Because right now, Tony has a motion to compel or motion to produce 60 days worth of reports related to the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
How do we know? How does the justice system verify whether or not there was production of those documents? They could, marshals could literally delete them. They could rewrite them. They could do whatever they want with it, and the justices won't know. You literally. You understand what I'm saying, Michael? Wake up! This is serious.
I was about to say, really, really.
Nino, I know you're getting worked up, but you gotta calm down.
So,
It's on me.
I had this massive fucking crash out session
That one is
earlier today.
blindside too.
Is that this is a much bigger deal than, and Tony brought to my attention that Espinosa's statement that he made was produced because it can't be produced any other way, because it's likely a marshal fucking report. So you had to make a new one, which is how that report was made the day of the request. I am likely going to this is, I don't know. I'm sort of at a bit of wit's end. Obviously, this doesn't change what we need to continue to do as an office, but I wanted you to understand where a lot of my focus is likely going to now be redirected, which is, hey, either at the very top, I genuinely believe that there needs to be a justice brought in that understands at a higher level what needs to be done. And I think Hollow is great. I'm going to give Hart the benefit of the doubt. But someone else also needs to be there, because the problem is too big. And without that, the system is going to fail simply due to that they don't have the bandwidth. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not expecting them to fucking, fix 6 months of shit, but this shit needs to be fixed today, tomorrow, this week. And if it doesn't, like, the entire city is gonna just, it's like, it's already bleeding out. You know what I mean? And there's no time to wait. There's no time for another day of a deposition. There is no time to figure out whether or not Pred can or cannot have a fair trial. That time was 2 weeks ago. And
I feel like at this point, with the motions that are being made on the docket, the delays and everything, the back, like it's an intentional stalling by the marshals at this point to make it take as long as possible. Whereas even if they somehow lose this case, and Pred is the victor, that they've at least kept him out of office for as long as possible, and in that way they win. They
agreed.
keep him from functioning.
Just like the contesting of our legislation held us up for 2 fucking weeks.
Yep.
And they're still holding us up. Like,
Yeah. I think that's the biggest concern. At least the most concerning part for me is just the sheer lack of urgency within the DOJ. There's none at all. And we can point out all the problems with the system and until we're fucking red in the eyes. Hell, we have. And there's literally no urgency at all.
I joined the same day that the SAG letter came through, which was 3.5 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, it's been that long?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was the day I was hired or the day before, and I was hired November 3rd. So, yeah, 3.5 weeks.
Aristotelian, for what it's worth, at least it's coming from our peers that aren't are using that vernacular to describe the institution and not everyone inside of it.
Bleeding out. I think people are very much so feeling that, like, from all my friends, whether it's legal or illegal, they very much so wake up and do the same thing every day, and they're just getting burnt out. So I think something needs to be done in terms of whether it's activities people do or just things in general, because people are getting bored and just moving out of town. I want to be like quite blunt about it, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. We actually brought this to the attention of all related parties, that very thing about 4 or 5 weeks back, actually before the election. That direction was being had like 3 weeks leading up to the last election. And I believe that this election was, for many people, a perception that, look, finally Pred and Nino can do something. And there was excitement. And then these stupid motherfuckers came in and said no. I genuinely believe that they are feeding off of the depression of others at this stage.
Feels like it, yeah.
And I'm not going to have that. So I will say that if you hear things about what I may be doing, I'm going to be very loud. It's not going to be anything crazy, but I am going to start banging my hand on the table and demanding like an answer today, tomorrow. I'm going to fucking ring up the FI-fucking-B, be like, listen, this is happening. There's not even time to do fucking ACRs and impeachments and God. How do you even ACR a marshal or impeach him? Like, I just the simple. I'm gonna start by calling up the director or something. Maybe he's got a phone number somewhere. It's just logically speaking, how do you believe that any proper resolution can come out when there's fucking FISA, like it's a FISA court system, right? Y'all know what FISA courts are?
I'm not familiar now.
Yeah,
I'm afraid not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought you would, Michael, but I forgot you're Canadian. After the Patriot Act was passed, 15 years ago or whatever, the FISA courts were created. And what it is they're like secret courts in which warrants can be signed and hidden away from the public.
Surveillance court. Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah. That's what it kind of is. Like, hey, we got all this dirt. You can't look at it. No one can analyze it. So I'm going to point that out. I genuinely think that those in the establishment have no fucking idea that this is even happening. And that's why I reserve myself from being too harsh in opinion towards like Hollow and Heart, because like I said, if your peer is giving me trust me, bro, it's understandable to put in the trust and not necessarily spend the time to think about what the repercussions of that is to the system and to the victims being the people, each and every person in San Andreas. So, but I'm gonna put a pin on that for now so we can hit all y'all's topics.
I mean, I only want to say you're more charitable than I am, because I mean, at least Bailey stood up for something, and I'm fine with you giving them the benefit of the doubt. That's your prerogative, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I miss Bailey.
I
Yes, that's my point.
I do.
Or what he stood for, anyways.
Agreed. Yeah.
Have you guys spoken about town hall meetings? I know, Nino, you said you wanted to talk about it to me last Tsunami, but
Yes.
Yeah.
So we were going to do a town hall an hour before Tsunami. I decided against it. Number one, I woke up a bit late, so my energy wasn't there. Number two, train was a bit slow this morning. And I realized that in order to do it right, we need pretty much to spend about an hour in advance of it, personally inviting people down, phone calls, etc., etc. As we learned in the past, the first rally 4 months ago, and then other things, is that unless you call people and say, hey, this is happening in 30 minutes, people aren't going to look at TWATA, people aren't going to look at state announcements. But remember the thing we did at the lumber union? That was our biggest event.
Yeah.
But we didn't make phone calls during that one. Like 4 people showed up, right?
Yeah.
And it was huge.
Yeah.
So either that and or we actually have something fun activity that goes alongside it, because so it becomes both informative and an enjoyable activity with money.
I could always contact Revival and see if we can get some artists involved.
Wait, I'm sorry, say again?
I said I could always contact Revival Records and get some artists involved if need be, or I can
Well,
plan some kind of
I didn't mean
activity or
music.
something.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean music. I mean like a fun activity. Like don't get me wrong, music is great and shit, but I mean I'm talking like, you know, like a fucking like a little game or something with a monetary prize, you know? Like
I'm thinking of the scavenger hunt. I know that's larger scale, but I think about how many people showed up, and you got in front of a mic and you could have said whatever the fuck you wanted.
Yes.
And there was, 100 people there.
exactly that.
Yeah.
And I think we do it for next week.
I think there's a big prize. People will turn up pretty much
Yep.
regardless of what sort of activity it is, because people are money driven. Like,
Yeah, and understandably, right? Like, people want to make sure that their time is valued, and let's, I think, plan something for Tuesday next week, let's say, and that we make it a big thing, and that way, yeah, I like this a lot. We'll cook on that a little bit, like who will organize it, what it's going to be like. It doesn't need to be super long, like an hour. So the whole event, including the town hall, maybe an hour. You know what I mean? So
Like the scavenger hunt was only like 40 minutes, right? By the time
I
the first team
really
won.
like the idea of a scavenger hunt again and doing it right.
Yeah.
Okay. Corolla, I'm going to bring you officially into the team today.
Thank you, Nino.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
It may take a day or two to get your keys, maybe a week. I would like, normally I ask folks to let me know where they would like to focus their efforts and time in. And the way I like to operate is, hey, tell me what project you want to work, and we will support you fully. That way, you are a master and you get to be your own leader in that space. You make the decisions. You give us updates. Obviously, we'll weigh in from time to time, but whether it's money, whether it's you need things done, we'll make sure we support that as need be. With that said, I would ask that if you would be willing, be our interface with not just Mopec, but also with all the mechanic shops to get them on board with EMS and like pretty much relations with the mechanic shops. Like get them involved with the EMS repairs, PD repairs, all that kind of jazz.
Of course.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Of course, the situation. I did a bit of an experiment. I wrote down everything I did this morning, and basically, repairs might always be a problem. The mechanic math is really bad when it comes to repairs. It always has been. But I've also noticed that people in the city prefer to make just net profit, basically, which is what cosmetic work and some performance work offers them. They don't want to mess with the parts. They don't want to pay X amount to make Y amount. And even that is slow. This morning, there were no cosmetic
It just clicked.
in the city. I am very fortunate. I assume it's because I've been a mechanic since the city opened, that I'm one of the few who can do both jobs. But I had people coming in today saying, I've been trying to get a cosmetic mechanic for the past 3 days. So
I believe, if I'm
it's
not,
going to be a rough one.
Yeah, I believe, and don't quote me on this, that, you know, when you get to the end and you get the training from like the Grandmaster or whoever, like the last guy, one of the choices gives you access to both tools.
Yeah,
And the-
performance lets you do both. Cosmetic doesn't.
I know of performance mechanics who cannot do both.
Oh, so maybe that was I think very
request.
similar to, I think I might be in the same position as you in that the training was done so long ago that he was very generous in his training. And now that generosity has subsided.
I spoke to a mechanic who has both, and they said they made a special request to the state who got them authorization for both.
When the change happened that we had to choose between cosmetics and mechanic, there was a problem between, I guess you could call it, the NA and EU shift. The earlier shift, everyone was cosmetic, and then in the later shift, everyone had, or most of the mechanics had gone performance. There was a huge issue with cosmetics in, I guess you could say, is it this shift by now? Yeah. And then that is when unicorns started appearing, or we started discovering that some of us could do both things. Because obviously I hadn't tried until another mechanic told me that some of us had the ability to do both. We hadn't forgotten our cosmetic training, basically. But I know now there are performance mechanics who cannot do cosmetics. Basically, if I'm not around, it's very hard. People don't get repairs because nobody wants to do repairs. And they're not even doing everyone is focused on performance, trying to make money from the tuner shop, or they are what I consider pseudo mechanics, which are just car sales. which is another big moneymaker.
So is it, if I'm understanding you correctly, the big problem that is currently being faced is people are coming in to do the big work, but repairs don't make enough money to make ends meet, you know? Why do mechanic work, like normal mechanic work, when you can just kind of focus on car sales and the big cosmetics? You know, you come down, you make a big paycheck. Is that what I'm understanding?
Pretty much. Why put in the effort and sit in a mechanic shop waiting for clients to come in when you can put your name on the lemon list, say car sales, and get, I don't know, maybe 50K or more out of a tuner car and call it a day? Is basically it.
What I am thinking is Wyatt, who oversees MOPEC, I really cannot wait for the mall because I think MOPEC can be moved there too. I think we, as a county, start producing car parts and start giving them to, it's reminding me of Donnie. I think we need to socialize everything.
Like,
When it comes to the car parts, it's going to be very hard to socialize it since anyone with a bench can make them.
Not if we give free pots out.
That could, yeah.
Why would people make them if they can get them for free?
Yeah,
Is what you're saying, basically?
exactly. Or 50%. As long as their books are in check.
I mean, to give you an idea, Nino, I usually work with a 50 across, which I will generally go through depending on how many other places are open and if other people don't bring their repairs, I can go through a 50 across in 2 to 3 days. Of course, I'm usually in the city about 14 hours. Doing the math at materials at 8 per,
Yeah.
I would make $44,000 from that 50 across. Which sounds like a lot of money when if you're not taking into consideration, I obviously have to pay my electric bill, I have to eat every day, and so on and so forth.
Is that
It doesn't
44K your total profit or the amount that you're making, not including expenses?
That is just, how can it's gross. Let's see, the materials at 8 per for a 50 across cost $56,000.
So the
And
44K
for
is what you're
50
left with.
And yeah, and then 50 repairs is basically going to give me 100,000, 100K.
Okay.
And that is me making my own parts. I don't really have a mechanic shop. So it's like, I have the best possible, I basically have the best deal in the city. Now, people with mechanic shops, they have to, let's see, there's one group, they're in the north, but I have connections with them and they were willing to tell me for everyone across, their mechanics make only $700 because they need the rest of the money to keep their shop open. So it's like repairs, unless they become extravagantly expensive, it doesn't add up for people with mechanic shop.
And I think that's what we should explore, is that I think what we should do is we expand out MOPEC to actually provide direct pots. And by moving towards a part-oriented system, we can then maybe give those at a 50% rate. With the expectation is that they maintain books, right? So that we
Here's the
make sure that those things are moving in the right direction.
The only other catch, Nino, is there
Mhm.
aren't enough clients for the amount of mechanics and mechanic shops in the city.
You mean in terms
There's
of
way too many mechanics and mechanic shops in the city. Even if the city was at capacity. How like it doesn't add up.
so
Can I propose one thing?
yep.
I mean, there's nothing that can be done about that, but I'm just
Do
putting that out
you
there.
do you guys remember when I sent you that map of what one of my friends Frank did for the marketplace we talked about, very similar to your idea of the mall, Nino? And outside there was a mechanic place. What if on whether it's a daily thing you have to swap out constantly, what if, you know, there's hopefully going to be constant foot traffic going in and out there, there's an option for someone to set up shop there, and, you know, whether it's a first come first served or you reserve your slot, and then, you know, that mechanic place can be realistically the place where it's going to be the most popular.
Yeah, I mean, it's an idea. I think we shouldn't be too hands-on when it comes to, like, I think we should still leave it to the citizens to have the opportunity effectively to you know, create these businesses. And
We don't need more mechanic shops in the city.
yeah,
We need to find a way to get people to want to do mechanic, at least repairs, because the other mechanic
Exactly.
work, they'll do it. We have to find a way to incentivize people to continue doing what is really an absolutely boring and thankless job that does not pay well. It's very easy to burn out. I don't think there's any mechanics who became master mechanics at the time that I did who are still doing the job actively. I dare to say that I am basically the only one left.
I believe you. Yeah. I know Eli, you remember her from Los Santos Customs. She's still around. I just learned. But yeah, there's I think really we have to make it profitable as fuck to be a mechanic. And
But then there's the issue I told you. You make it profitable as fuck to be a mechanic. Everyone signs in, and basically each mechanic might get one repair a day. Because there's too many.
Because it's an oversaturated market.
It's, yeah.
But the problem with that is that we can't solve both of those things, right? So right now is people aren't repairing, and yes, if it becomes more profitable, there might be too many mechanics, but that's a good thing for us.
No, the too many mechanics thing doesn't have a solution, but like I said, I'm putting it out there so you're not surprised if your idea does not exactly work the way you expect it to.
I got you.
I'm sitting here. I've been trying to think of a solution for a while now, and it's been very hard to find something that'll actually work.
Yeah.
While I am simultaneously amused and frustrated that our most viable solution for things like these seems to be to throw money at it. If our solution with mechanics is to throw money at it and make it a more, you know, livable paying job, and we also simultaneously have the issue of it being an oversaturated market in terms of employment, if we make it something that pays well,
it came
and
out,
people still aren't
Judge,
willing to sit
a
there and
week
be
or
bored
two
because
ago?
there's too many mechanics and not enough clients, the ones who weren't really in it will just give up eventually and go find something else to do. And then we're left with the ones who are dedicated to it, who will in turn eventually start seeing more clients as those people fade out and are actually getting reliable business.
Yep. Yep. Well, you know, I think for now we'll put a pin in it. I think for now, Corolla, I think what I'd like to see is of the existing shops, getting them to the steps are as follows. That they, in order for them to be qualified, they need to be a registered business in Los Santos County, a registered mechanic shop. Number 2, they need to be utilizing MOPEC, which they probably are. And number 3 is that for their reimbursement, they must maintain a transaction log that contains the badge number of the cop, the name of the cop. It can only be Los Santos Police Department. They're responsible for making sure that that's that. The vehicle plate number of that vehicle. It is only personal LSPD cars, nothing else. And that the driver, the person coming in, owns that vehicle. And in doing so, they can then they put it in, they repair it, and they send us the bill with the transaction log through lossantos.me. And we will fund them directly.
EMS?
Well, yep, that's for PD. And then for EMS, they can repair all their stuff. Yo, what up, Raiders?
Excellent.
Bro, I'm so
But I
excited
assume
for
also-
this arc.
I mean, they can pick up. We used to do this when the city first opened. Name, plate, basically the same information from that we're asking for LSPD. Have them do the same thing.
Yes. Exactly.
Except that the driver, I don't think there's any personal owners of ambulances. I might be wrong. But all the other information is basically what they need to do with the EMS.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. I think Milton Mod is a good one to start with, but if you could help get that organized, come up with a list of it, we can work with Michael can put up those businesses up on our website too, so everyone knows who the registered ones are. I think that would be amazing.
Do we maybe want to include?
Yeah,
the
man,
towing
I'm
that eventually
excited.
turns out to stop
I
us?
have a big idea of like what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be like a big.
Well, for sure.
It's a cool idea, man.
Tow and mechanic work, they basically
We might get
work off
fucked
one
at the end
another,
of it, but
so,
I'm kind of like, who
yeah,
cares,
it's gonna be
man?
great to
Let's
have,
make some shit happen.
PD tow in, helping out. Although I'm not sure what PD tow exactly with mechanic work, since they're usually taking cars into the impound.
No,
Is
no,
that
no,
what
no.
you're
I
saying?
won't. I won't. Not
Well, I'm
even
saying,
my
like,
chat
as far as,
knows
like,
yet.
repairs to tow trucks, if we want to have the drivers that are approved for PD tow, do we want to have them like
Yo, guys,
involved in that?
show Kung Fu some love.
With, like a
KJ,
Yeah, they would
reimbursement
be
program?
also working for the government.
one of the OG gangsters.
I mean, it's all up to Nino.
I think we leave it at just EMS and PD for the time being, and then we, iterate from there.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Excellent.
Cool.
I will be reaching out to the different businesses, the different mechanic shops here.
Oh yeah. Maeve, Michael, Junior. Is there anything that we got to bring up?
I think we're good. I'm good.
Do we need to get Junior and Corolla NDAs?
Yes. Can we get? Yes. Let's get them sorted on that.
Yeah, we'll do. Are you guys both in the email chain?
Yeah.
Corolla?
I can get Corolla in there.
Okay,
I
get her.
don't believe I'm in the email chain yet.
Once they're both in, I'll distribute the same NDA that I did for you, Maeve,
Easy.
and we'll get it done.
It's very simple. It's kind of one of those like, hey, you're in the mayor's office, so when we're talking about things, we want to keep it within the cabinet. It prevents fear mongering, et cetera, et cetera. So if we're out here like, fuck the marshals, that's not getting out, because or whatever it is, obviously.
Yeah, don't Sky-Fay it,
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
Oh, speaking of which, am I crazy or aren't warrants public information once they're like, signed and everything? Like once a warrant is a thing, that's public information, right? Like we can go down to City Hall and see those.
Yes.
So Skyfae kicked us out of the briefing room to discuss sensitive information. Weird, but whatever. And then we come back in, and Viv's making an announcement about a warrant. She goes, I don't want to leak it, so I'm not going to say who it is. You guys can look at whatever report. And I was like, what do you mean leak it? It's a warrant. That's public information.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because, I mean, I assume, oh my God, it's Luciano.
No, they talked about Luciano's publicly.
They did,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the reason why I'm thinking it's Luciano is because a new one just popped up. When I originally looked at this, he had 2 warrants. Now there's a 3rd one.
Yeah.
I don't know. God knows what it is.
I do have one thing to bring up. I spoke to Christian Toe a little bit, who works at Big Dog Noodles. He does a lot of the management stuff. He wasn't at the town hall meeting yesterday, but he heard a bit about the state-run stall, and he had mixed opinions of it. His biggest quarrel was basically, he understands that, you know, prices are going to be up, but the main thing is, how do we guarantee that it's going to be open all the time?
Wait, sorry. Run it back. Who did you speak with?
Christian Toe called me. He runs Big Dog Noodles.
I thought we weren't even entertaining that anymore.
Wait, what? Wait, purchasing a stall?
Yeah.
The food stall?
Oh yeah, we can do it. Yeah. Maybe I had a moment where I don't know. I don't remember where we last left off. I think
We were
once
gonna put a pin in it for some. I think it was because so much shit was going on. We were gonna put a pin in it.
yeah, and the things weren't passing. I think
Yeah.
the only option that I want to entertain is a full-on county purchase of a stall, because we have enough on our plate that we need to be able to self-manage it. You know what I mean?
So, Junior, you said Christian has reservations about the county operating a stall?
Yeah, it's more so the fact of how we can guarantee it stays open, because the main rhyme and reason for it to be there is to ensure that, especially during the earlier hours when nothing's open, that...
I mean, that seems like a critique that's not his problem. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Like, why does he care if we can achieve that or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, but it's... At the end of the day, from like looking at it from his perspective, like I spoke to him quite a lot about the food court. He's like very, very passionate about it, and he's someone who likes to talk a lot, and he was just very consistent on the basis of...
Was it a concern or more of like curiosity? Like, man, I wonder how they're gonna run it 24/7, or you get what I'm saying? Like, was it actually a concern? Because it's odd and why would he be concerned if we can actually pull it off? I guess.
To be quite honest, I don't know. I think it was a combination of curiosity and concern, because at the end of the day, he owns a business in there, and it's something, even though the prices are higher, like, it could affect him at the end of the day, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, we're
consideration as well.
we're absolutely. I mean, the long and short of it is, we need to internally. This city is not like anywhere else, right? And but similar to like everywhere else, there's not enough experience with how things are going to end up when we come up with a plan. So at the end of the day, we just need to keep an eye on everything, so to make sure that we don't, end up, screwing any of these stalls open. So I think as problems arise, like if they're like, oh no, like you guys are putting it out of business, they got to tell us, and then we can fix things,
Yeah.
And if it fails, we shut it down. I think,
Easy.
but
I'll pass on the message if you want me to. Just give him. I'll speak to you about it and just see what you say in more detail. So I'll pass on the message.
yeah, like, I mean, our prices might even be double of whatever the highest cost is for everywhere else, right? Like, where the idea behind our stall is, we pay people to work there, We also can get people to chop ingredients, right? The thing that the guy up in Polito wanted to do, we can give him a place there so they can sell chopped stuff so the stalls can run. So we're going to be paying people to chill there, chop up ingredients, and sell food for maybe double the price of every other stall. So,
my argument against you, won't that take away a lot of workers from other stalls, though?
So I'm going to retort, because the way I see this going is if people buy from the state or the county run stall at double the price, it should encourage the other stalls to raise their prices too, which means they can pay their staff more, perhaps, you know, equal to what the county run stall would be. And then the economy would start to normalize. Because I've been harping at these people to raise their prices for months and they refuse to. And they go, well, I can only pay my staff $1,500 an hour. Well, it's no wonder you have no fucking staff.
Yep.
Charge more. I've done the same with mechanics, and I know mechanics are steadfast with their pricing, because if they aren't all on board with a price raise, then they're going to put themselves out of business if they raise prices. But everyone's got a fucking $1 million plus in their bank accounts, and we're charging what, $150 for a sandwich at the food stall? Get the fuck out of here.
Not everyone has $1 million in their bank account, Mr. Moneybags.
Not everyone's you.
Not everyone has.
Hey,
that much
I'm up
money.
to 30 grand. I'm up good.
Proud of you.
So, but doesn't Manx run Big Dog Noodles?
He does.
Yeah, I would
Christian's
say
his manager.
I would say that, like, he should talk to Manx about it, because Manx is super on board with what we're doing. So I don't want to be that guy, but this is out of his, he's not, he should talk to his boss.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be a dick about it, but it's kind of like, this is out of his league of understanding,
I'll be completely. I don't think he really fully got the picture.
Yeah.
Completely honest. Like, I tried to explain it to him, and he was just talking over me a little bit, and I was like,
that's his signature move. Christian's signature move is not getting the big picture, and that's why I fired him as a lumberjack. The guy doesn't get it. He's passionate. He's passionate. Don't get me wrong. And I like the guy. I do. But he has a tendency to see only what's right in front of his face, if that makes sense.
Most people in Los Santos tend to see things at a micro level. Macro is too much for them.
Yeah, not wrong.
So, anything else y'all want to discuss? Okay.
No, I'm good. I would say whatever happens with the mechanics and whatever adjustments we need to make to the website or the subsidy request form, just to let me know so I can build that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I put a card on the Trello for things that need to be updated on the website that I noticed. But I mean, if anyone wants to add to that I noticed, I mean, I guess.
Oh yeah.
All in one place.
Let's get Corolla and Junior on that Trello.
Yeah, I was just
while we're at
say
it.
that. Yeah.
The one
we might
thing,
be close to our limit.
The one thing we may need is, I don't know whether I told you, Michael, but we're going to do like an apprentice show thing to help businesses out and help people get a business started. And I want to basically, I've made it, in the process of making an advert, and to apply, you got to do like a 30
Chat is
long video
cute.
why you
No.
think you're a good candidate. So is there any way of getting a form up on the website so people can submit their videos via that?
Yeah, that's not a problem. That's easy.
Okay.
That's easy.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, unless there's anything else, I'm gonna dip here, let you guys continue on. It's Tuesday, so that means it's the end of my week. And I'm gonna be in touch with you guys. I'm gonna let my mind. We are now at a spot. Like, yes, there's a lot of. I gotta tackle this FIB shit, but we can start getting legislation passed again. So if there are things that need to be done, small or big, I think it's time to start.
Oh, I guess that begs the question. The last thing that we were working on before I had to go on LOA for a bit.
The lawyer stuff?
Well, it wasn't even that. It was going through all the legislation to find all the edits to put together articles of impeachment. Are we?
Let's do
pausing? Yeah, you want to do it?
Yes.
I think Archie finished.
Yeah, he
that?
did. He did.
Send it to me for review.
Yeah,
I think
it's
impeachment
gonna take
time.
a couple days.
Absolutely. I think dereliction of duty can go on there and a bunch of other things.
Oh, there's There's something for everything. Trust me. There's more
All
than
right.
enough bullshit to go around. Trust me.
Love
Are
it.
you not showing up for the UPD meeting tomorrow then, Nino?
I might, just to stir a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Y'all take care.
See ya.